there. Welcome to your Elite Weather Forecast. Dooley Godot here once again. Happy Friday, and we're going to be talking about the weather coming up for the next 2 weeks. We're going to analyze the forecast models and take a look at what I'm going to be seeing out there over the next 2 weeks as we work our way through the first week of May here, the first full week of May, and we're going to go out into about the third or fourth week of May. Kind of let you know what could possibly happen out there as far as severe weather is concerned, the temperatures, maybe the drought situation that's going on across America right now. Our city of the day is St. Paul, Minnesota. We are looking at the I-35E and I-94 intersection here in downtown St. Paul. We do see Minneapolis in the distance out there on this beautiful clear day, and you can see downtown Minneapolis in the distance. So I guess the city of the day is going to be both Minneapolis and St. Paul. There is the St. Paul Cathedral right there, and the state capitol is to the north here, just to the north. But anyway, we're seeing a beautiful day across the Twin Cities. 61 degrees is our current temperature under absolutely sunny, beautiful skies. There's a little bit of haze out there, but we will be seeing temperatures warm up in the coming days. We even have 80s in our long-range forecast for the Twin Cities. But right now, let's take a look at the national radar and take a look at what we're seeing out there across the country at this time. Alright folks, here's the national radar, and what we're seeing is that weather system that we've been dealing with across the plains and the central part of the nation over the last couple of weeks is now making its way into the Ohio Valley and the mid-Atlantic states. So it's going to be spreading that rainfall, and some of this rainfall can be quite heavy at times. There may even be some severe weather down here in North Carolina and Richmond, Virginia. So if you're in Southern Virginia and North Carolina, you have the threat today of seeing a marginal risk for severe weather for that location. And also another little area down here in Texas could also see the possibility of a few isolated severe thunderstorms as well. But right now we're seeing those showers and storms down here through Florida as well as out over the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to be feeding into that storm system, providing that supply of moisture that's going to be producing that rainfall along the East Coast here. We're talking about in Tennessee and Kentucky, maybe down into Alabama and parts of Georgia there. You're going to be seeing those showers and storms for that region as well. Again, some of this rainfall is very heavy as we have this large area of precipitation taking place. We're seeing beautiful clear weather across Minneapolis there. You're seeing Minneapolis is one of our cities of the day. Thunder Bay, and very nice clear conditions across the northern plains today and the northern Great Lakes. We're not seeing much in the way of cloud cover, and you have beautiful conditions out here across the desert southwest. It's starting to warm up out there, and in the Texas, you're going to see a building heat wave. We're going to look at all of that in the forecast models for the next 2 weeks, and we do have some wet weather starting to move in here into the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be seeing some rainfall in Seattle and Portland out there, maybe Spokane and Bend, Oregon as well. Going to be seeing some rainfall, and this weather system is going to move out into the northern plains and start to bring some rainfall to maybe the Dakotas and northern Minnesota in a couple days. So we're going to give that system some time to work its way across the northern Rockies and into the high plains of the Dakotas and Montana. All right, so let's jump in and take a dive and look at that forecast model over the next 2 weeks, shall we? All right, here I'm going to take my lovely seat. This is going to be a sit-down forecast because this might be drawn out a little bit. And we're going to take a look at the GFS. This is the latest model run for the GFS for your Friday morning that was produced a couple hours ago. This one has been active. So we're going to analyze the precipitation and look at where our low pressure centers and areas of high pressure is going to be over the next 2 weeks here. So let's get our model in motion here. We are going to start moving forward here. This is what we're currently seeing. Here is our storm system that's along the East Coast. we're seeing this move into the Ohio Valley. This will be out here eventually. And let me hang on a second. It's jumping ahead for me. I don't want the model to run away. So we are seeing this area of low pressure here. Here's our cold front, and we do have that warm front in place there. And that is going to slowly make its way to the northeast there. There we see it's progressing out into more into the mid-Atlantic and the southern section of New England. This is going to move off the east coast there, and hang on a second, it jumped on me again. I keep hitting that button. Gotta stop hitting that button there. All right, so as we analyze this, see, it's going to continue to spread those showers and storms here. We're in the mid-Atlantic states here. We have our cold front that is going to be spreading that rainfall down towards the southeast. So let me shut off my phone here that's ringing. I'm getting a wireless caller. But anyway, so here's our cold front that's going to be extending here across North Florida and along the immediate seaboard today. It's going to be spreading those showers and some thunderstorms as well. We do have that potential for some marginal severe storms right here along the mid-Atlantic states, parts of Virginia, of course, and D.C. and Maryland. Could be seeing that severe weather today. Marginal risk. I don't expect tornadoes there, but maybe some nickel and dime size hail and a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust with some of the stronger severe storms there. So here's where we are. We are going to move out into the 7th. So this is Saturday. Saturday, as the system starts to move on away from here at the 21Z hour. Here we are. That's going to be moving off the mid-Atlantic seaboard. It's going to spread a little bit of rain here across parts of the big cities here, New York City into Connecticut, just south of Boston. I think they're going to just stay south of Boston, Massachusetts. But we do have another weather system that's going to work across into southern Canada here, the northern plains of the Dakotas, down into Nebraska, and also as part into parts of Colorado, northern Colorado. We're going to see some showers, maybe some thunderstorms. It's going to be possible here across North Dakota and South Dakota as we see that weather system. And this is that weather system that's currently moving through the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies. It's going to move out into the high plains. So this one is going to take more of a northern track, as most of the storm systems over the last couple of weeks have gone out like this across the central and southern plains. So this one is going to take to the north because of a change in the jet stream pattern that we're going to look at in one of the other maps here a little bit later as we progress through here. But here it is making its way to, now this system is going to make a turn towards the north, which is a little bit different because of this. If you look at these isobars, you see how these isobars go well into Canada because we have this area of high pressure here over Nova Scotia that is going to be creating a huge long wave, a high amplitude ridge over the eastern half of the nation and the Midwest in particular. But we're going to be looking at this in the upper air dynamics when we look at the 500 millibar in the next map. But we are seeing this huge airflow here, this pattern of air move well into Canada, and you see it ridges here, how it turns over towards the north, how it turns towards the northeast here. This is this very strong area of high pressure there that's going to be deflecting this system and making it go into central Canada. So let's keep on moving along here. There's this system here that's going to be spreading that precipitation here across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. The upper peninsula of Michigan, you're going to be dealing with some wet weather, maybe some thunderstorms in your area as well. And there will be a significant warm-up in this region as well as that weather system that's going back here. All right, here we go. As we make its way, there it goes into Canada. See, a difference, definitely a different track than what we've been seeing in the models lately and when what we've realized. So we've been seeing the system's taking more of this pattern from the. We've kind of had a similar pattern that we saw through the winter, where after December 15th, and we had that severe weather outbreak across the northern plains in Iowa, when we saw tornadoes in December. Since that day, December 15th, we've been in a pattern where we've had high amplitude ridge out over the western states. The Pacific Northwest been very dry over the winter, very warm, warmer than average winter for the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. The Canadian Rockies, huge high amplitude ridge was in place through most of the winter. And we saw those Alberta Clippers diving over the top of the ridge, coming down into the northern plains, and they've been dropping down into the central Rockies here, Colorado, New Mexico, and they've been diving out across the southern plains through Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and have kind of been ejecting out into the Missouri Valley, the Mississippi Valley here, and on into the Northeast. That's what we've been seeing through the winter, March. We've been seeing it, and we've kind of been in a hybrid of that pattern over the last month or so, where we've been seeing the systems kind of slide down the front range more into the Colorado area, like where this low pressure area is right here. You see this area of low pressure centered right over Colorado. Let's run our model and see where it goes. It actually retrogrades a little bit here, kind of dances around in the Rockies. It doesn't really move out anywhere. It kind of dances around here. Is basically the Coriolis effects makes it kind of rotate in and around itself. It's going to be diving around out here because we don't really have a west to east strong current to move it out toward the east. So it's going to kind of lollygag. We're going to see the system kind of get hung up over the Rockies. Maybe something tries to develop here. We're going to pick up a few storms across. Let's go back here, and we are going to go into, now we're talking about we are looking at the 12th here. We're about the 12th here, so we are going to be, what is this? Going to be for Thursday. So next Thursday, we may pick up some thunderstorms here along the leeward side of the Rockies into the high plains of Colorado. We got West Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, extreme eastern New Mexico, Nebraska could be maybe pick up some storms. We might even see some showers and storms here in Minnesota, northern Iowa as well from this weather system that kind of lollygags. It kind of dances around, and you see now it lifts north. See how all of this activity lifts north? We do have another trough of low pressure here that is going to come out for the 13th. We're talking about Friday the 13th now. We're going to see some storms along the high plains of, we got North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas once again. We may have a cold front here that's going to lift out. This system here got a warm front. This area of low pressure here is going to lift north into Canada. See how it lifts north into Canada, and they even retrograde in their pattern. I'm starting to suspect whether the GFS is glitched up. Maybe I should run this and compare it with the Euro as well. But for the sake of time of the video, we are going to be seeing this system. These systems lift north into Canada. It's very weird, very strange pattern. I've never seen a pattern quite like this, where instead of west to east, south to north, they've been, because there's a huge trough that's going to develop over the west. So we're going to have a ginormous western trough, a super high blocking ridge. See, this is a blocking pattern because it's deflecting those storms into Canada. Normally that ridge is further to the east, and they more go like this, and they block it from the east coast. there's actually going to be a low pressure area here over in the Gulf Stream area here off the eastern seaboard. And I'm going to run this all the way through and let you look at the pattern. So now, as we get to we're talking about Sunday. Now, this is next Sunday. We are going to be looking at the 15th here, and we're going to be seeing maybe some scattered showers and storm around the periphery of high pressure. We got the Bermuda high that's going to be out here over the Atlantic, right off the eastern seaboard. That is the Bermuda high, and it's going to be pumping in tropical moisture off of the Atlantic. So if you're in Florida, if you're in Miami or Jacksonville, all the way down the eastern coast of Florida, you're going to be seeing those showers come in off of the sea breeze. It's that subtropical high pressure out over the Atlantic that we call the Bermuda high, semi-permanent feature out there. It usually directs how the tropical systems move as well. And when that high pressure ridge is closer to the U.S. mainland, this is when tropical systems tend to hit the U.S. mainland. We're talking the East Coast, Florida. When those systems tend to hit that area is when the Bermuda high retrogrades closer to the U.S. mainland. So what we're going to be seeing is tropical systems coming off of the Atlantic. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be dealing with any tropical storms just yet, because we haven't quite reached the tropical season. But we will see tropical waves circumventing the periphery of the Bermuda high. As we run this further, you just kind of see it. Now you see how it comes in, kind of rotates around there, because they are going around the periphery of the Bermuda high. Bermuda high backs off, moves out to sea a little bit more, but we're not seeing any persistent organized weather system. Here, let's run the GFS here. Let's run it. Let's go back to the beginning. We are going to go back to the beginning. This is our current weather system. Let's stop it here. Let's go back. All right. What I'm seeing is this is our current weather system along the East Coast now. This is what's spreading that heavy rain from the mid-Atlantic to the Ohio Valley. We're seeing that frontal boundary spreading those showers and storms down to the Gulf Coast, right? Let's set this to run. Let's go back. Every time I move, it moves when I move the mouse. All right, so let's start this. I want you to look at this all the way from start to finish. We're going to look at that pattern. I want you to see the pattern. The continental systems, the mid-latitude system, after this guy moves offshore, now watch the next systems take a beeline into Canada, and then watch the area here. I think I'm sitting far enough to the side where you can see this area here as how everything behaves here. Let's go back. Okay, all right, let's click that. Click run. All right, let's speed it up here. Boom, look at that. Look at the pattern. We're just going to let this run. Now, notice this area of swirling. See how we see this persistent swirling? See this swirling here? Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Crazy, isn't it? Look at this. Ooh, look at that. That's what we're going to be seeing next week. This cutoff low. This is called a cutoff low because it's cut off for the main flow of the jet stream. And it's kind of wandering around, being bobbled around by the subtropical Bermuda high. So it's going to eventually fill in and wash out and dissipate. But you see this persistent area of low pressure. Now look at the mainland. Boom, Canada. See that? See that? Everything's going north. Boom. The northern plains. Now it's the northern plains, the Great Lakes. See? Look at that. Isn't that something? Not so much attention on Oklahoma and Texas. We do see a minor disturbances kind of come out there. We do see those more minor disturbances. We will be seeing that, right? This is over the next 2 weeks, all right? You can see some periods, even still some opportunities of snow across the northern Rockies. All right, so we're gonna stop that here. We're gonna go back to the beginning. Boom, we're gonna look at that. We're gonna take it through. We are going to get to the. Whew, that's incredible. All right, so there we go. All right, so that was a look at the GFS. So we're seeing a pattern change. There is a definite pattern change from less of a focus of the central and southern plains storms to the northern plains and the northern tier of the nation here. Storm systems coming out of the northern Rockies, so they're going to come from the northern Rockies into Canada, or either this way or this way. Nonetheless, there's a large area of high pressure out here over the Atlantic, right? And it's going to be deflecting systems to the north. But we are going to have that cutoff low that's going to spread some showers and storms along the east coast of Florida and the Carolinas and and southeast Georgia. But that's going to be out at sea, so we're going to see those showers right along the east coast as that area of low pressure sits out there for a few days and wanders around until it washes out or fills in, we say, when a low pressure, when the central pressure rises in a low pressure center, we call that filling in. When it fills in, because now the pressure is equalizing to the area of higher pressure that surrounds it. So that's when a low pressure center dies off, and it's just going to be just some tropical moisture out at sea out there until it gets caught up in the next passing weather system that can pick up that moisture and pulls it in. But that's the weather pattern we're going to be looking like. And this right here is what we're going to be seeing on the 22nd. So this is May 22nd here. We're going to be seeing that severe weather across the parts of Michigan here and Wisconsin. We're going to be seeing that. This is more than likely going to be some severe weather, as by then we're going to be seeing those temperatures through the 70s, maybe some 80s. So I'm looking at a really significant warm up for the northern plains. And in fact, the northern plains is going to warm up warmer than some areas right in here than in the south. And in the west coast is definitely going to see a cool down here through the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest as that huge trough over the west digs in. And we're going to look at that when we look at our upper air dynamics now. Thinking of upper air dynamics, let's go to our upper air dynamics right now. All right. So let's go to, I apologize if this ends up being a longer video, but I want you guys to kind of see the pattern that we're going to be dealing with. And that pattern is definitely going to change out there for the next couple of weeks or so. So here we are going to take a look at the upper air dynamics. And I want to take a look at the 500 millibar height velocity, the vorticity. So this is the rotation, the spin in the atmosphere. We're going to look at the 500 millibar. This is going to be the upper air pattern. And we're going to start this. And I'm going to run it slowly here. And we're going to let this run. You see, this is our current system that we're dealing with on the East Coast right now that brought all that severe weather to Oklahoma and Texas. There it is. Now, see, it's going to wash out, dissipate. Well, it's not going to quite wash out, but see how it just lollygags out here? This is that weather system that I showed you on the west, the other map that lollygags, gets caught up by the Bermuda High. See how it just spins. Eventually, it washes out. See? It fills in, dissipates. It doesn't leave, it just fills in, right? So now, let's go back. So we saw that. You saw that, right? You were able to see that. Okay, now, we're going to run it back, and we're going to take a look. We're going to focus our attention on the northern and central part of the nation. Now, see, watch this. There's our current system out on the East Coast. There it is. Now look at the pattern here. See the trough out west? Huge trough digging in. Dig Deep trough. This is really deep for May, folks. Huge trough. Western trough. This low pressure center swings rounds the base of the trough and shoots into Canada. Look at that. Look at that pattern. Frontal boundary here. Moves to the east. You see how it indents back? That's because the Bermuda high is strong. This is a positive AO. We're listening a positive NAO. Look at that. Okay, run it. Boom. There's our current storm. This is our current storm. Boom. Here is the next storm or the next trough. See that huge trough? Look at this. Look at this here. Look at this. This is a ridge building in. That's high pressure. Look how high this ridge gets. Boom. Look at that. High altitude ridge over the east and the Great Lakes. Huge trough. See, this is going to mean a ginormous warm-up for the Central Plains and the Great Lakes. 80s. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 90 degree day in the Northern Plains with this huge setup. Blocking high is really causing the storms to really dive into Canada. They're going over the top of the ridge. So these guys are going to come out near Greenland. That's how high this ridge is going to be. We see this trough here. Huge ridge. All right. 13th. This is for the 13th. The 14th. So we're going to be seeing some severe weather possibly across the Northern Plains. Minnesota, Iowa, the North and South Dakota, Wisconsin. See? Look at that. I'm excited for this weather pattern because I'm dying to see how this plays out. If this verifies in the next few model runs, if we see this trend continue, it's going to be an interesting week coming up in the next week for the Northern Plains. I'm happy to report that it's going to quiet down significantly for you folks down in Oklahoma and Texas and across the South, the Ozarks, the Southern Mississippi Valley, the Central Mississippi Valley, you folks down in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. It's going to quiet down. You're gonna see storms, but you're going to see more of the garden variety thunderstorms, the afternoon thunderstorms, pulse storms. You're not going to see so much in the way of organized severe weather. It's going to calm down. That's wonderful news to report because right now is typically our busiest time for the severe weather across Oklahoma and Texas. May. This is when we've seen the El Reno tornado in 2013. We've dealt with the Moore tornado in 2003 and I think 1996. We've dealt with the worst tornadoes during this stretch of time in May. To see that it's going to kind of calm down, we're seeing our weather system. Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to run this back. All right. Now, this is what we saw over the last few days. Okay. Let's stop it. It's on autoplay here. Let's run it back. Okay. So there is our storm that we dealt with on. Here is where we are seeing. Here is this trough. The jet stream energy right here. Right here is the 6. Our low pressure center is right in here. But this is the upper air pattern. So we're not dealing with a vertically stacked low pressure center. It's kind of offset. The rotation is kind of offset. So it's not vertically stacked. It's not like this. It's kind of like this. You have the upper air here, the lower level pattern here. Instead of being like this, sometimes systems are more like this. So you see that rotating column offset a little bit. And it tends to happen when you have a weak jet stream. So we have a weaker jet stream that's got us with a tilting pattern. And it's also called a negative tilt. This is what happens. We're looking at the upper air pattern. So in this pattern, you don't see the lower level. This is the 500 millibar. All right. So this is about 6 kilometers, 3 to 6 kilometers above the surface. the upper air pattern. This is the pattern that directs the direction that storms move. So we're seeing our guy here, but then you're seeing that pattern move into Canada. You're seeing that trough, the jet stream energy is taking everything north into Canada because you have that ridging that's going to be taking place out here. You see how everything, how it just rises here. You see this? This is called a high amplitude ridge. It's also doing a fair amount of blocking as well. It's not a transient ridge. Transient ridges are the ones that progress across from west to east. They don't really block storms. You'll see the curvature in a cold front. It's not like this. It's going more like this, meaning that it's progressing forward and south and east. So it's not being arched. It's not arching or going around. It's not navigating around a ridge of high pressure. But that's what this is doing. We're getting that deflect. See it? You see it? You look. Meteorology 101. I'm teaching a good lesson here. All right? You see how it goes backwards looking because of this ridge of high pressure out over the Atlantic. Now you do have the remnants of our storm that we're currently dealing with in the mid-Atlantic states and the Ohio Valley. All right? You are seeing that this is going to wash out here. This is the remnants. This is going to go away. Uh-oh. Oops. All right. So this is starting to get long here. I'm going to keep it pushing. All right. So there we go. There it is. See it washed away. See, this is a very persistent trough, but it's mainly hanging out to the west. Boy, when this trough really breaks loose and moves to the east, woo! That's when we're going to see some crazy storms. Because the energy, now that's going to be a super... See, this is the next 2 weeks. Maybe in 3 weeks after this pattern breaks down and that trough breaks loose and moves to the east, woo! That's when we could see that super tornado outbreak. All right, so that's the end of that. That's to the end of that model run. But you see the persistent troughing here, the ridging here across the east now. You're going to see a significant warm-up. Definitely see a cool down to the west. Huge troughing. Look how far into the Pacific this trough goes. Look at that. Another huge ridge out to the west, out over the Pacific there. So definitely a cool down here. We're going to see storm systems moving to Canada here with this. So a nice ridge over the southeast. So the eastern half, the eastern thirds of the nation, through the Ohio Valley, the Illinois Valley, Missouri Valley, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, is going to be protected by this ridge of high pressure from any significant storms. But it doesn't mean you won't see storms at all. You will see storms, but you won't be seeing any tornado outbreaks over the next few weeks. And that's good to report. I really appreciate that pattern. This is a great weather pattern for warmth. It's going to warm things up along the east here. We're going to see that cool. And you'll see it when I look at the telekinetics, the NAO is going to be very positive, and the PNA very negative, meaning that it's going to be colder than average along the west coast, and a positive NAO, warmer than average on the east coast, and drier weather. So drying out on the east, maybe a little bit more wet weather along the west. Remains to be seen if any of that wet weather can make it into Southern California, but the Pacific Northwest is definitely going to be dealing with colder, wetter weather conditions, which will benefit the farms up there, but they need things to warm up and dry out a little bit for certain crops to grow, like corn and different things like that. But if it's too wet, you won't be able to grow some of the heavier, stalkier plants. But cabbage and lettuce, going to be perfect weather conditions for that kind of thing. And strawberries as well, going to be good for that. Look at me talking about farming weather. Check me out. Boy, I'm your boy here. I got your back. All right. But anyway, so let's take a look at the temperature anomaly. We are going to look at the temperature anomaly right now, and I think that'll be all I'll talk about in this video because I don't want it to be too long. I could make subsequent videos if I want to talk about different things. And also stay tuned for the weather forecast as well as the daily forecast. We're going to take a look at what we're going to see for Saturday, okay? Also, remember, if you're still watching this, like, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section. Alright, so let's take a look at the surface. We want to see the temperature anomaly. Okay, so this map is going to talk mainly about our normal or and above our temperature, what it will look like as far as what we're going to be seeing as far as temperatures are concerned. So let's run this. Let's get this going here. So we are looking at today is the 6th. Here is the 7th, the 12th, 18Z for the 7th. You see that warm up here across the central plains here? Here are the plain states. We got a cool off in the east because of that storm and that rainfall. They're getting a lot of rainfall today and tomorrow along the eastern seaboard. You see, we're 19 degrees below normal through parts of Pennsylvania, as well as in Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio as well. 22 below in parts of Kentucky. So we're 22 degrees below the average temperature for this time of the year because of that wet weather and that storm system, that cold core low pressure center that's going to be hanging out here. So we're going to see cooler temperatures here across the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Appalachians. So this is Appalachia right here. So the Appalachian, we jumped ahead. Let's go back to where we are today. All right, so there we are. Here is where we currently are. Let's click it. All right, so for tomorrow, we're going to see a really cold day compared to average for this time of the year for the Mid-Atlantic states, okay? So this region here, we're going to see a cold day, significant warm up across Texas. We're seeing those 90s in the Texas, and that is going to go all the way into the northern plains, not those 90s, but we'll see 70s, maybe some 80s start to show up here across the high plains of the Dakotas and South Dakota. All right, we're seeing above average temperatures in Minnesota, but look at the West Coast. Boom, starting to cool down. We're seeing it get double digits below average. All right, so let's go forward now. We are now talking about we're looking at the 8th. This is Sunday. Nice warm up through the central part of the nation. The northern plains, the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Dakotas, nice warm up. Continue cooler than average here on the East Coast and Northeast. In the deep South, we're seeing that cold weather, cooler weather go all the way into the deep South, okay? Keep clicking on the soundings there. And it keeps jumping forward. All right, so let's go back. All right, so this is what we're going to be seeing for the 8th. This is Sunday. See how warm it is across Texas. All right, very warm in the Texas, above average. Cold in the west, cold in the east, warm in the middle of the nation. Boom. All right, so let's move on out here. Now we are talking about, here is what we're seeing for Sunday. Let's keep on moving. Now, Sunday, we do see a brief shot of cooler air where we can go as much as 10 degrees below the climatology for this time of the year. All right, this is Sunday, but notice that is probably the overnight. Maybe we get some rainfall for Sunday, considerable rainfall. We'll talk about it when I do the actual weather forecast. This is just an analysis of the models, not the forecast itself, but we're analyzing the models. All right, so there's that cold shot for Sunday. Boom. But by Monday, look at this. We get above average, 4 degrees above climatology. but we're really above climatology down here through the southern plains. Nebraska, not Nebraska, we're talking about Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, but we'll see that warmer weather continue. See how the East Coast, a little bit cold right along the eastern seaboard, the Northeast, still below average. We're going to see that also we see that also play out in the telekinetics. All right. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, this right here must indicate the potential for severe weather. This is going to be for the 11th. Here we are on the 11th, next Wednesday. You see that? What does that look like to you? That looks like a storm, a thunderstorm, a really big one, okay? Where it is, see how it's above average, but right there is that good. Isn't that odd to see that in something? Check that out. That indicates really big thunderstorm that's making the air around them cold. That's really big thunderstorms right there. All right? Here we see this cold right here where it's cooler, probably some rainfall. That's resulting in temperatures being below climatology. So probably some thunderstorms. That's going to be a low pressure area right in here that's going to be going into Canada, but it's going to have a trailing cold front, probably a nice dry line right here. This looks to me like it's a dry line action, and dry line action kicks off really spectacular thunderstorms. So we're going to see probably high dew points with a nice dry line here across West Texas, New Mexico. All right, look at that. That's thunderstorms right there. Okay? All right? But look how warm it is. Look at that. Again, West Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Panhandle, Kansas. Again, that's colder probably because of big thunderstorms in the area. Okay? Now we're looking at the 12th. This is May 12th. Look how warm it is across the middle of the nation. A little bit cooler along the southeast, the west coast. Cooler in the desert southwest. Excellent. You guys aren't going to be baking down there. Okay, boom. Very nice. Cold air continues. Colder than average across the west. Nice warm up. We're talking 22 degrees above average through Minnesota. That's going to be in the 80s here. So the 13th, next Friday, huge warm up possibly for Minnesota. And I wouldn't even be surprised to see severe weather follow behind it. Boom. All right. Continue. 20 degrees. We're talking 13 degrees. Very warm weather continuing. Look at that. It warms up nationwide. Look at that. When we get into the 15th, look at that. Above average west, above average east. Even Florida actually gets a little bit below average. Cool down in Florida, but we warm up tremendously across the northeast. The Midwest continues above average. The West above average. So we really start to see above average temperatures. We get a cool spot here, probably a storm. There's a storm system there that's going to cool things down, some wet weather. Maybe we'll see some severe weather in this area. Oh, whoa, what did I do? Whoa, look at that guy. Thunderstorm, big thunderstorm right there. Only a thunderstorm could do that. So the models think a thunderstorm is going to form down there. A big thunderstorm. That's an MCS. That looks like an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. All right, boom, boom, boom. All right, this video is starting to get too long here. All right, look at that. See, a nice trough, a nice cool down here. We see it cool down here across in South Dakota, the Badlands, right? We're starting to see things cool down there. This is going to be for the 17th. Let's keep it moving. Oh, here we go. We drop off here about the 18th. We drop here across the northern plains, probably a storm. Because you see how it's going to say warm in Canada? Whatever this is won't last long, so it's a storm. More than likely, it's going to be a storm system. So wet weather, maybe some severe weather. All right, boom, warms back up again. Oh, we get cold across the west. Another western trough. We get a shot of cold air across the northern plains. But it's not going to last long. Look at that. Whoa, we warm back up again. Wow. We definitely keep the same pattern. Trough starts to move a little bit to the east. We cool off here toward the 21st of May. Oh, we really cool off. Now we get into the 22nd. That is the end of that model run. Until we see a nice long period of warmer weather across the central part of the nation, the northern plains up to Minnesota. Now we see it along the east coast. As we get to the 21st, we do see some thunderstorms down here, Texas and Oklahoma, West Texas. Those elevated thunderstorms we're going to be seeing because of dry line activity in this part of the country. We'll be seeing that severe weather pop off with that. But that's the extent of any severe weather across the southern plains in Texas we'll be seeing over the next couple of weeks. So things definitely calm down across the East Coast and the Southeast because a lot of the activity is going to be over the Great Lakes and the Northern Plains. So that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm going to set up the daily forecast next and the forecast for the upper mid for our severe weather. So we're going to take a look at the next upcoming rounds of severe weather in the next couple videos. Thanks for watching. My name is Dooley Godot. This has been Elite Weather Forecasting, and I will see you guys in the next video. Also, remember to subscribe, to leave your likes and your comments down in the comment section. All right? Thank you. Have a great day.